Congressperson Crockett is part of the new trend where informality is okay, where formality used to reign. Okay, fine. That's been going on since the 60s. So her routine is that she wants to bring a little bit of what I might quaintly call the ghetto cat fight into these spaces. I get it, you know, bring a blaxploitation movie or something into Congress. Great, work it. But you do not make fun of the fact that somebody lives their life in a wheelchair. If she thinks that being black and fabulous gives her a pass on that, then she's got a really unfortunate sense of what black is.
Brutal, direct, no sugarcoating. In seconds, John McWhorter took a flamethrower to the reckless comments of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, and he didn't stop there. Welcome to the breakdown no one else is brave enough to do. We're cutting through the noise, exposing the real chaos. So hit that subscribe button if you're tired of media cover-ups and want the raw truth, unfiltered. It all started with one of the most disgusting slurs uttered by a sitting member of Congress. And no, it didn't come from the far right. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a Democrat from Texas, mocked her own state's governor, Greg Abbott, who is paralyzed and uses a wheelchair, by calling him Governor Hot Wheels. That's not just a jab, it's a gut punch to every disabled person watching, and it set the entire panel on HBO's Overtime on fire. The host barely had to tee it up. The reactions came instantly, and what followed? Pure carnage. John McWhorter, no stranger to cultural debates, was locked, loaded, and furious. From the jump, he called out what he saw as performative, attention-grabbing politics gone mad. No spin, no excuses. He tore straight into Crockett's comments. And while others tried to justify or joke it off, McWhorter made it crystal clear this was a step too far, even for the circus of modern-day politics. While McWhorter fired shots of clarity, not everyone was so sure. Bill Mayer, the host, chimed in with a take that was somewhere between dismissive and defensive.
I'm really not. You know why? Because I'm a big fan of Family Guy. And they have... Am I wrong? Every week. I mean, one of the characters, Joe the cop, is in a wheelchair, and every week there's 20 jokes about him being in a wheelchair, and nobody died. And like, I just think everybody...
Seriously? That's the defense. Comparing a cruel, targeted comment by a real elected official about a real disabled governor into jokes on a cartoon sitcom?
Has to, like, lighten up a little. Yeah, it's terrible to be in a wheelchair, but you know, it's not like it's news to him.
Then came the weakest excuse of them all, lighten up.
And like, I just think everybody has to, like, lighten up a little.
But this wasn't an offhand joke in a comedy club. It was a public statement by a congresswoman meant to demean and humiliate someone for their disability. Rikki Schlott, New York Post columnist, tried to keep it sensible.
Well, what do you think, Rikki?
I mean, I think this is just an example of when they go low, we go lower. And the Democratic Party is going to lose if they try to use kind of MAGA world tactics back at them. I think that...
Exactly. Let's be real. If the roles were reversed, this would be front page news for weeks. Imagine a Republican calling a disabled Democrat Hot Wheels. There'd be immediate calls to resign, a CNN panel special, and a 24-hour outrage loop. But when it comes from one of their own, silence. Or worse, weak rationalization. John McWhorter didn't let that slide. His takedown was clinical.
Congressperson Crockett is part of the new trend where informality is okay, where formality used to reign. Okay, fine. That's been going on since the 60s. So her routine is that she wants to bring a little bit of what I might quaintly call the ghetto cat fight into these spaces. I get it, you know, bring a blaxploitation movie or something into Congress. Great, work it. But you do not make fun of the fact that somebody lives their life in a wheelchair. That doesn't work.
That wasn't hyperbole. That was a man holding the line on decency. He wasn't just defending Greg Abbott, he was defending standards. McWhorter went further.
If she thinks that being black and fabulous gives her a pass on that, then she's got a really unfortunate sense of what.
Powerful. This wasn't just about one offensive comment. It was about a broader trend of using identity as a shield for cruelty. And while Bill Maher threw in cartoon analogies and lighten up banter, McWhorter made sure viewers heard the truth. This is not Family Guy. This is real life. And Crockett said it with dismissive hostility. At that moment, the line between comedy and cruelty was made crystal clear. Just when the audience thought the roast was over, John McWhorter went in even deeper and exposed the real rot behind Crockett's comment. He didn't just call out what was said, he dug into why it was said, and his theory, devastating.
Congressperson Crockett is part of the new trend where informality is okay, where formality used to reign. Okay, fine. That's been going on since the 60s. So her routine is that she wants to bring a little bit of what I might quaintly call the ghetto cat fight into these spaces.
This wasn't some one-off outburst, according to McWhorter. This was strategy, a brand, a performance, and one that had nothing to do with helping her community or advancing real dialogue in Congress. That line, ghetto catfight, wasn't just colorful language. It was a direct hit on what happens when politicians abandon substance for spectacle. The fact that Crockett, a congresswoman, felt emboldened to mock a man's disability for cheap applause and thought she could hide behind identity politics is exactly the problem. McWhorter's biggest bombshell.
If she thinks that being black and fabulous gives her a pass on that, then
that line left the room stunned. It wasn't about race. It wasn't about party. It was about accountability. And McWhorter made it plain. No amount of fabulous gives you the right to punch down at the disabled. In a moment when others danced around the issue, McWhorter ripped off the mask and exposed the nastiness behind the laugh line. While others hedged, joked, or shrugged, Rikki Schlott took her own swing.
Well, what do you think, Rikki?
I think this is just an example of when they go low, we go lower. And the Democratic Party is going to lose if they try to use kind of MAGA world tactics back at them. I think that
it wasn't just Crockett's comment that was disgusting. It was the strategy behind it. Schlott made it clear. Democrats are trying to play the same gutter game they claim to hate, and it's blowing up in their face. Instead of rising above, they're diving below and dragging everyone with them.
I think that if the Democrats want to succeed in the future, they need to be the party that is normal, that are stand-up people, that do not take the cheap.
Bang, direct hit. Meanwhile, Maher kept trying to throw in cartoon logic, saying nobody died, and casually equating Crockett to Family Guy. But Schlott wasn't having it. There's a difference between comedy and congressional cruelty, between cartoon satire and actual slurs. And when Maher said,
I don't know. I'm a free speaker.
I adore Family Guy. I've seen every episode, but that wasn't a cartoon. This is real life, and she was saying it with dismissive hostility as opposed to the cartoonish, we can get away with it because we're drawn. Jasmine Crockett is not drawn, and neither is Abbott.
But by then, the damage was done. Schlott and McWhorter had already stolen the show. So what just happened? A Democrat thought mocking a disabled man would score her points. And instead, she got scorched. No excuses, no spin. If you're tired of hypocrisy, identity shields, and nasty politics dressed up as fabulous, hit that subscribe button now. We'll keep bringing the takedowns, no matter who's throwing the cheap shots.